Humans have also held great expectations for communicating with dolphins. This trial is part of an investigation at the University of Hawaii to see if dolphins can be taught to understand grammar. The trainer wears goggles to avoid cueing the animal. To avoid the uncertainties of the ape language work, experimenters here are focusing on the comprehension of symbols. Lou Herman.
We have to recognize that there are differences between humans and dolphins, not only in terms of the obvious structures and the kinds of worlds we live in, but in terms of our thinking processes, perhaps, and in terms of what is important in our perceptions. And our job here is to understand through our own perceptions as humans what it's like to be a dolphin.
The dolphins are Phoenix and Akea Kamai, whose name means lover of wisdom. Each dolphin has been taught a vocabulary of about 30 words, object names, actions, and modifiers, which can be rearranged to produce up to 1,000 sentences.
Dolphins are very bright, in keeping with most people's popular opinion about them. Their intelligence, in some sort of a general sense, is very high. Our goal here, however, is to try to map out that intelligence, to try to understand the specializations, the particular strengths, and the weaknesses as well. Phoenix and Akea Kamai have been trained in different artificial languages. Phoenix's language is acoustic, based on underwater sounds projected into her tank, generated by a computer. Akea Kamai's language is based upon signs, gestures of a trainer's arms and hands.
Here, Akea Kamai is given a command, net pipe in, meaning, in her grammar, put the pipe into the net.
I think one of the important parts of our work is studying the ability of the dolphins to understand new sentences or novel combinations of words. Well, human language is constructed of words and grammar. The grammar tells us how to put those words together to form meaning, and the same words arranged in different orders can convey different meanings to us. It's the difference between boy bites dog and dog bites boy, the latter being noteworthy of an article in the paper, perhaps.
Here, the command is right surfboard hoop fetch. Akea Kamai ignores the surfboard on her left and correctly heads for the surfboard on her right. In training, she caught on quickly to the difference between left and right.
One of the new words that we've introduced into the language is erase. It goes like this. And what it means is essentially disregard the previous message.
The command is left surfboard frisbee erase. Akea Kamai sees the command, but stays at her station. Essentially, she has learned the concept of don't. Critics claim these dolphins are doing nothing more than learning a long string of behaviors, just like a dolphin act in a marine park. Herman says his dolphins know what to do based on word order, the essence of grammar.
In order to train 500 to 1,000 different behaviors in a marine park, which would be unheard of, they would essentially have to have 500 to 1,000 different instructions, each one calling forth a unique behavior. If we wish one of our dolphins, Phoenix or Kate, to do something new, and although the animal has never done that before, she will do it. And no training is necessary, only the understanding of the words and what their combination means.
For the moment, the communication here is one way, human to dolphin. To open the possibility for two-way communication, Akea Kamai is being trained to mimic whistles transmitted to her underwater. In the future, she may be able to answer yes or no questions and to carry messages to and from Phoenix. But how would a different animal with a smaller brain perform given the same tasks? This is Rocky, a sea lion at the California State University in Hayward. Kathy Krieger, Rocky's trainer, spends a lot of time building rapport with Rocky as part of a communication experiment designed to parallel Lou Herman's work with the dolphins. Since sea lions are generally believed to be only slightly more intelligent than a dog, no one expected much from Rocky's performance. But Rocky surprised everyone. While Rocky goes through her paces, the psychologist in charge of the experiment, Ron Schusterman, watches and records her behavior from an observation booth.
Water wings under.
Again, the trainer wears goggles so as not to cue Rocky with her eyes.
Pipe, mouth.
They started out with two-word commands consisting of an object, in this case pipe, and an action, mouth. Touch the pipe with your mouth. Rocky performed quite well.
Bring him in.
She learned a total of 9 objects and 5 actions. In addition, Rocky was able to generalize concepts, such as ball, performing correctly whether the ball was black, white, large, or small.
Bat, mouth. Mouth.
In the next stage of the experiment, we decided to go for modifiers. And we worked for about 2 months in working on the modifier black-white. Once we got that modifier, we were able to include a new modifier, gray, immediately.
For the next trial, a set of footballs and water wings, colored black, white, and gray, were thrown into the pool.
White, water wings, flipper touch. Okay. 0.4.
The results that we have thus far with the sea lions indicate that they're running about the same as the dolphins. There may be some differences. Perhaps the sea lions have to remain under stimulus control to a greater extent than the dolphins.
Could Rocky possibly understand the meaning of the commands without the objects present? Does she form a picture of the objects in her mind?
Does Rocky rehearse these problems to herself while she is not being stimulated by the objects, by the trainers? This is an extremely difficult question to work with.
A creature's mental experiences may be mediated by how information is taken in through the senses. Dolphins have become highly specialized in their acoustic sense and make an extraordinary array of sounds, whistles, burst pulses, and clicks. These calls may help to knit together the complex social structure of dolphin schools. Kenneth Norris.
Perhaps the greatest of mysteries amongst all of the other mysteries about dolphins is what sorts of lives they have, what their societies are like. And this is a terribly difficult thing to unravel. The dolphin schools are extremely fluid. Association patterns between animals change all the time. They also spend an enormous amount of time caressing each other. This caressing isn't just amorous. It also has to do with reaffirming relationships between animals. If one animal does fall sick, it will usually be supported by another dolphin. Another dolphin may come along and swim under it, push it to the surface so that it can continue to get that vital breath of air. I watched a pilot whale, for example, push a doll porpoise about 1/5 its size to the surface and hold it there when that animal was in the last stages of dying. And you look at that and you say, wow, those animals have a concept of distress. They really know.
Dolphins make high-intensity clicks, sharp pops of sound, which they use as a kind of sound flashlight to inspect their environment. Ken Norris has a new idea about how dolphins use sound. He calls it his Big Bang Theory.
There are a lot of fragments of information which suggest that they may be able to stun prey with sound. The most impressive of this information is a study which showed that the dolphin could put out sounds which were so intense that they're up in what's called the finite limit of sound. Any more energy put into the sound turns into heat. And that same level will indeed kill both fish and squid. So we think that they may well be able to do this. And when they want to go get lunch, they may have to simply drive out towards the nearest fish school and go bang, you know. But we don't know that for sure.
One man who has done the most to affect public perceptions of dolphin intelligence has been Dr. John Lilly. Trained as a neurophysiologist, Lilly earned an early reputation for mapping out the pleasure and pain centers in the brain. Lilly has claimed that the large-brained dolphins and whales have an intelligence far more advanced than our own, and he has infuriated other scientists who claim he does not distinguish fact from speculation.
Why do humans want to communicate with whales and dolphins? Well, the reason I want to is that I'm curious. Communication is the transfer of ideas from one brain to another, by any means, sound, whatever. Well, they've had brains the present size of ours for 15 million years. We've only had that brain size for about 0.3 million. We've probably been here before, done away with ourselves, and the dolphins and whales have watched this and have stories about it. I'd like to learn what those stories are, if there are any.
John Kurt is director of Lilly's current research, based here at Marine World Africa in Redwood City, California. He has developed a system called the Digitalker, which transforms the human voice into digitized pulse sounds. The dolphins try to match those sounds with their clicks. It's hoped that mimicry will be the beginning of two-way communication between humans and dolphins.
They're exquisitely accurate in terms of timing of pulses. So when they put out the matching pulses, we can begin to understand it. John Kurt's been doing most of that, and he has a Hungarian accent, so our dolphins have a Hungarian accent.
Station. Okay.
The reason Lilly thinks dolphins are so intelligent is because their brains have a neocortex 40% larger than human brains.
Thank you. Thank you.
Their central processing capacity, future plans, past memory, ethical considerations, and so on, increase beyond ours as the brain size gets beyond ours. And this is the general argument that I've used for years for protecting them and for learning to communicate with them. Because I think their philosophies and their spiritual advancement are way beyond ours.
In recent years, Lilly has been a highly controversial figure, experimenting with isolation tanks and hallucinogenic drugs. Some people claim his work has more to do with metaphysics than with science.
John Lilly, of course, is a pioneering figure in dolphin research and has done some very important work in his early years. I think that he made a number of mistakes in subsequent research in terms of his philosophy, his overcommitment to a hypothesis of language in the dolphins.
Well, I'm sort of a gadfly for other scientists. Write provocative books, which makes them angry and makes them think. And as was discovered a long time ago in neurology, the only way you can get people to really think is to get them upset. And then they will change their basic belief systems. So I use that method with myself and with them. And another way is using psychedelic chemicals, which help immensely. And I can get out of my own ruts that way, and into other ones.
The whole process of science and those of us who play in it really is a very human one. We tend to think that it's something special, but it really isn't. Science is just a set of human rules that keep us from lying to each other. Basically, that's what we're doing. And all a scientist has is his or her reputation for truth. That's really all you have as a scientist. And as a result, you must guard that with great care. And when you put out a speculation about how something works in the world, as I've done many times, you must tell people that you don't feel you've proved it. And those speculations are important because they guide people's imagination. And we need that. We simply can't operate just on data. We have to operate on ideas, too.